Welcome, guys, to a new episode of Rich and Rich FC. I'm your host, Rich, with my guy, Rich. We're back again for a new episode. Rich, how was your week, man? How was your weekend?
I mean, this week was a bit rough. You know, be- better, better days ahead. Better days ahead. How about you? World
I mean,
champions.
it's been a rough ride since the Arsenal game, to be honest, man. But hey, we look to bounce back this weekend, though.
Oh yeah, it looked like you guys used all your energy for Arsenal now.
Yeah, yeah.
Finish
They took everything on the rest, but I think it was worth it because they
because
took a loss, man. We wore them out. They took a loss. In
yeah, but
the
now you.
key game, they took a loss. So
But do you think Chelsea's in the championship race? Considering
now,
uh, your own
right
issue.
now, they had a chance when they were like when they tied Arsenal, but then from there they haven't really kicked on. So I don't. Right now, I think they're fighting for more like top four.
Hmm.
Oh, because City is gonna take it on from here, and
They-
Villa be right in the mix. So.
City is the same team that tied Leeds. So
True, but then it looks like Leeds are not a team that will allow teams to roll them over. So, you know, it seems like they're showing some skin. Let me say that. They're not that soft.
God,
But I feel like that Man City can kick on now. They have something to fight for now. Villa give them hope. So I think that right now they can really go after Arsenal.
yeah, if you say so. I don't know about the defense, but if you say so.
I mean, the defense is very leaky, but they can score and grind out results, even if it goes like it goes 5-5 or 5-4, 3-2. They can always hold out to the end to get that 3 points, which is what really matters at the end of the day. Because if you conceding goals, but at the end of the game you get your 3 points, that's the most important thing. It's not convincing, but that's the most important thing. Because
Yeah,
it's not different from Arsenal scoring one goal and playing defense 90 there's the game, and 90 minutes it's 1-0. We're gonna say they had a good defense, solid, they don't concede, but it's not different if you can get 3 points.
the difference. There's a difference in optics.
I mean, yeah.
Obviously, the title race is now kind of open. It's only 3 points, yeah, but I still say Arsenal's favorites. And
I
uh,
mean, yeah, they are ahead right now, so yes, they are the favorites. Their performances also push us push us towards that they're gonna be quote unquote champions. By the end of the day, you need to get 3 points and you need to accumulate that to the end of the season, be at the top to win a trophy. So if they can keep it up right now, they look like they're gonna win the title. But we know Arsenal, we've seen the deficiencies over the past years. We've seen some creeping on right now with injuries and not being able to hold results. So, you know, it's right now, I don't think it's an open race right now, even though Arsenal is still leading. Just.
let's say it's an open race. I only see two teams, and I would say out of the two teams, Arsenal is the better team.
I mean, yes. Last month we would have said Arsenal all the way. But today, stance have changed. Now it's open for Man City to creep in. We at one point were like Liverpool right there behind them. Look at where they are now. So, it's open now because if City wins this weekend until Arsenal plays, City are at the top. If Villa play, I think they'll be tied with Arsenal at the top. So right now it's open, in my opinion. But yeah, but let's get right into the Arsenal game versus Villa. Villa took it to them at Villa Park, and it took some brilliance and scuffles from Buendia for Villa to get a 3 point to shock Arsenal. And the reaction after the goal by Arsenal was very surprising. It looked like they had just lost the title. They felt really defeated after that goal. What do you think about that behavior and how do you see the game in general?
Overall a competitive game. Obviously Arsenal was an away match, so I think it's fair game if to lose away. Villa is one of the better teams in the league. And they've picked up from the start of this season. So they're definitely hunting for the top four. And they're in good form at the moment. I mean, Arsenal's not used to losing. They've only lost two games
Mhm.
this season. So if you kind of see maybe the players weren't happy or dejected, it's probably from not being used to losing. And this was a game they weren't expected to drop, but obviously they have some injury concerns of their own, especially defensively. And
Yeah.
I believe Saka or either Kaikoris, one of them, they've kind of been on and off with injuries. So I think overall it's not a bad game to drop away at Aston Villa. And the goal, is mixed. That's why you watch soccer. So, good performance from Villa. Tactically, they got it right, and they kept in the game. Arsenal kind of came back early, and it looked like they were gonna get over the hump over them. But these things happen, especially if you're the bigger team and you're kind of pushing for the win at the end of the game. Sometimes you kind of leave yourself open, but it's a great performance from Villa from my perspective.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. They really like fought with them, and looks like Declan Rice was not present. Look at Tillemans and G- Tillemans or Nana really bossed the midfield to make them really struggle in there. So yeah, I think they really took it to them, like you said. So, but Arsenal, all right, Chan midweek they played the rest of some players and they look really good. It was good to see Jesus back from injury since January. So now, and you can kind of see what he brought to the team. Like he was, like you can kind of see that Jesus is not Arsenal type of player for this team. He links up like basically like a Kai Havertz, like Havertz makes that team very smooth, silky play with the passes, drop in, transition, and then they all go forward together. They kind of don't have that Gyökeres because of his uh how do I put this? Because of how he is, very rigid, stiff, like that true nine. Jesus and Havertz kind of have that false nine feel to them, so it makes them very smooth. Do you think now that Jesus is back, they're gonna be more, they're gonna play better with him than they're gonna play with Gyökeres, or no?
I mean, I don't, I don't necessarily think so. Not playing styles kind of, make a team. But I think Arsenal's trying to get away from that silky playing style because it doesn't always effectively result in wins. It's nice to watch, but it doesn't necessarily results in wins. And uh, they brought Guy Chorus as the X factor for the for the team to kind of take them to the next level and kind of get away from that, not get away from that playing style. Obviously, each game is different. So depending on how the coach wants to set up, you can use all these different options. And that's what's going to make Arsenal option one of the better teams in the league because they have options and they have the options to basically play different styles. I don't think it makes that much of a difference. And it's also opposition, timing, and form of the team. And obviously, the form of the players actually matters. So,
Okay. Yeah, 'cause I feel like the Gyökeres buy was kind of something the media put into their heads, like, oh, you need a striker, you need a striker, you need a striker, because it was only Havertz who was available. Jesus was out for most of the season, also sometimes inconsistent, and then Havertz also started picking up some injuries, so now they don't have a true recognized striker. Wow.
Yeah, I think
Because I
with
feel like the Gyökeres buy, it's more like them also trying to get their version of Haaland, but they don't feed him the way Man City feeds Haaland, you know. So that kind of defeats the purpose because you don't play this the way City plays with Haaland.
yeah, I think maybe it's just a chemistry thing at the moment, and also Gyökeres hasn't hit his best form yet, so it's a mixture of things. He's still new to the league, new to the team. I haven't seen him kicked off. He's done good enough. He scored in certain games, he's put in good performance in others, and then some others you kind of don't really see him. But it's all a matter of consistency. So with somebody like Jesus, he's had his chance and to be the leading striker, average two. But there's always something missing with those two. So that's why Gyökeres was brought in. And also with like his goal records, that's what makes him intriguing as well. And if you can find a form of Haaland, even like 50%, that means you're on the right track at the
True,
moment.
true, true. But do you think you ever hit those numbers I had in Portugal, or that was it?
Listen, it's all about form. You never know. Uh, It's all about form and confidence. Once, as a striker, if you get your confidence, the goal becomes wide open. So I think he's done good enough. He scored in certain games. You see the potential is there. Now, will he be Haaland? Not necessarily. Can he be some version of Haaland? Yes, he can.
Hmm. Okay. Well, let's see how they do when they take on Wolves. Hopefully they don't get one the first win. But hey, let's see how they do against Wolves.
If
Now we had the
hey,
Thomas Frank
if
Derby.
if
Hmm.
Man U beat Wolves, come on, man.
Hey, you never know.
Come on, man. Don't be disrespectful.
No, 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 no. But we had the Thomas Frank Derby with Spurs taking on Brentford, and Thomas Frank really took it to their team. Xavi Simons scored his first goal. Richarlison also scored another goal. Um, how do you see this game? Do you think it was just one of those where Spurs kind of kicked on, or decided to play, or Brentford did not step up on that day?
To be honest, both teams are kind of mid-table. Obviously Spurs have more quality, and you saw even with Xavi, he's new to the league too. He's kind of struggled to find into. So it's nice to see him get those two goals. Like I said, with all these new players coming to the league, it's gonna take some time for them to adjust, get confidence, and chemistry with their team. But the quality is there. Uh, but obviously with Spurs, it's kind of been disappointing from how from what we kind of see them to be like top six team, and now they've been kind of struggling a little bit. But the potential is there for them. Brentford is Brentford. They're nice to watch, nice going forward, and they always, they give a good game, but they're Brentford. I
Yeah,
expect better.
yeah. And you now next game, Newcastle took on Burnley. That was a easy, kind of easy game. They won 2-1. Man City took on Sunderland, and the whoop them 3-0.
Yes, yes.
Churchy dancing, doing everything he wanted. Like, you know, even gave a bonus assist to Phil Foden to make it 3-0. And, you think this city is back?
you know. So
Because
Sunderland,
Sunderland is not a team that just rolls over for teams. Arsenal struggled with them. Chelsea lost to them. They've been picking very good results. They are around the top six, top eight conversation right now. So for City to do that to them and have fun with it, looks like they figure something out.
yeah, like you said, Sunderland has been a good team so far, and it seems like they're here to stay in Premier League.
Hmm.
But let's say Man City offensively, it's and talent-wise, they're above most teams. The only the only concern is defensively they give up a lot of goals, and it's not just to good teams, it's to bad teams. So those until you see they've corrected those kind of, and I don't even know necessarily if they can correct it, especially when their wingers, O'Reilly and Nunes,
Yeah.
they're not defenders. So I think a lot of times they can be in the wrong position, which causes a lot of mistakes. So I would like to see them get actual defenders back there, or kind of sort it out, or where we can see like they're not giving up easy goals. Until then, I don't really see them as a title contender because defensively they're just vulnerable to each and every team. So that makes them good offensively, but I think on a given day, if teams get at them, they can get a result against them.
Yeah. But looking at the fullbacks, don't you think that's the idea of having those fullbacks tuck in and play as midfielders and have the holding midfielder join the center back to be a threat back for Pep? Because when they do play, we do see that the wing backs do tuck in and then they go forward a lot, meaning that someone has to drop, which would be the defensive mid. So I think maybe the absence of Rodri kind of makes them really vulnerable because whoever is in that the defensive mid role can do the job that Rodri does. That makes them so powerful.
Yeah, I can see that idea, but you shouldn't be giving up like 3 goals.
I mean,
So
yeah,
we see that has been kind of fixed. Then we can kind of give them a better assessment of or favor of kind of being the title contender because giving up 3 to 4 goals to Fulham, Leeds, that's not really something you want to be doing.
yeah. But also talking about teams that are supposed to be title contenders, but are not playing well right now is Liverpool. They took on Leeds,
Mm.
and it was another go fest.
Yeah,
Ekitike kicked on really well in the second half because the first half was dry. Uh, Ekitike kicked on 2 goals, very quick ones, and then Leeds started their comeback, ended up being 3-3. Could have been
yeah,
4-3, but they kind of didn't take the opportunity to score with Chiesa making a very good clearance at the dead at the end. So, you know, but Liverpool, talk to me about them, man. Talk to me. What's
yeah.
going on?
They're another team where you can trust the defense. So it seems like the defense is a liability at the moment, even when they're able to get ahead. So that's an issue that they're going to have to address. Um, Offensively, you kind of see the value of Trent.
Hmm.
When Gomez and Bradley, they don't really give anything from that right back role that Trent was giving them. Even though he had his own defensive issues, but
Hmm.
he was so
Yeah.
like, and I think maybe that also helped Salah, because somehow Trent could also affect the spacing, for Salah, because you have to account for Trent, and now they don't really have to account for anybody back there, between Robo and Kirkis.
Yeah.
They're doing okay. Then Van Dijk and Konate, Jesus, they're there's issues back there at
Oh,
the moment,
yeah.
big issues. But obviously, those who have team issues with their senior players, obviously, Salah does feel appreciated by the coach. So all these things, we can kind of see where all these issues are kind of affecting them, and they have all these new players. Ekitike is staying strong and kicking on. But hopefully the other two words and um, Isak can kind of find their own form as well to play better. But obviously, they've had some internal issues, and that kind of reflects also how they've been playing. And when they started the season, they were kind of getting lucky with late goals, late goal, late goals. Nah,
I
that's
mean, it dried out.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
dried out pretty bad.
Yeah. And but now let's talk about Salah, right? Do you
Yeah.
think he's in the right in going to the media and saying what he said, which led to him being dropped for a few games now? We
Mhm.
just got word he's gonna be in the squad this weekend. So let's see if he's gonna get some minutes, even start. But do you think that was the right thing or Slot was in the wrong in doing that without having a conversation with him being the star player of the team?
Well, what it gives you is like the whole vibe with Ronaldo and Den Haag. Um, so when you have these players who are legendary. You know, Salah's a legendary player at the moment, to be honest, and they feel entitled because they've provided so much for the club. I think it's a matter of a conversation from the coach, where it's more of like not coaching but managing. You have to manage these egos and get the best out of them, even if they're not having a prolific or good season. You as a coach, your communication has to be on point, or
Mhm.
else that's what led to this. But for Salah to come to the media, I would say that wasn't the right thing because now it's kind of like made things worse.
Yeah.
And it, from a one perspective, it kind of makes him feel like entitled. But from another perspective, you understand what he's saying. Like, hey, this is basically my team, man. I when I want to play, I deserve to play. And that's what happens for all these big time players. But once your performance dips, you're kind of the last one to kind of see, okay, I'm not playing so good. But I think that's where the managing aspect of coaching comes in place, and the communication has to be very good in order to like protect everybody. And as a senior player too, you have to understand like once you kind of this the coach or the club, it kind of also makes you look bad in a way and selfish in a way. But the same kind of selfishness, that's what's made him great because when he's scoring goals, oh, he's the best. But when it's not, it's kind of like, yeah, you gotta drop you, bro.
Yeah. But Salah said that there was no conversation before the draw. And I feel like Slot should have at least respected me enough to have that conversation. Like, hey, okay, for the next few games, I'm gonna maybe try somebody else because of X, Y, and Z, so that he knows why he's being dropped,
Mhm.
you know. But I feel like he just came out of nowhere, which is again is not okay for that to happen.
Yeah, so that's communication and management. So if the coach didn't really say anything to him and he's a senior player, from my perspective, I feel like that's something that has to be done. But and that could have avoided all of this.
Hmm.
Uh, Obviously, Slot, I think he's also trying to make his own Liverpool. So all these old players that have been there, Trent, Robertson, Salah, I think he's trying to get
I
rid
mean,
of.
that's fine, but there's a way to go about it because at the end of the day, if they if you break up the locker room like that, just
Mhm.
drop whoever you feel like you want to drop, you're
Yeah.
kind of causing more problems for yourself. Plus,
Well,
if you drop like the he drops out for a few games, they picked up a few wins, it kind of makes it worse because now you're dropping your star player, you're winning games, you're kind of shifting all the blame to make it look like, oh, you see, he's the problem.
yeah, I think, you know, last year Slot won the league, so he has some sort of,
Yeah, but who won him the league? Who helped him win the league?
yes, but
Mhm.
at the same time, I think he's trying to move in a different direction. I think it was the same with Ten Hag with Ronaldo, where he's trying to implement new things and kind of play his own style. That's not mostly suitable for those star players. So in a way, it's kind of trying to move them along, but to move new players out of or old legendary players out of the club, it kind of takes some balls. So maybe that's why he didn't talk to him because he don't care.
Well, I don't think that's a good look because at the end of the day, players are watching. They're looking. If you can do that to him, the star player, who am I? So
Yeah,
they can kind of betray you in a way when it gets tough. We're like, you know what? He gotta go. They can get rid of all of us. They can cut him off. So You
Yes.
know,
But I think with him, he understands it's all about winning. So if he's winning with his style, nobody's gonna care. And he wants to win his way.
well, hopefully it works out for him. Salah is back in the squad after he's off for AFCON. So hopefully he gets some minutes, scores some goals, and goals performing in the AFCON with Egypt. But right after that, we had Brighton, West Ham, who was a 1-1 game. Fulham losing to Crystal Palace 2-1, and United kicking out Wolves 4-1, which was surprising. But that was for last weekend. This upcoming weekend, we have Liverpool Brighton to start off, which Salah will play. Chelsea Everton, Burnley Fulham, Wolves Arsenal, West Ham Villa, Sunderland Newcastle, Forest Spurs, Palace Man City, Brentford Leeds, United Bournemouth. Which game do you want to dive into?
I'm gonna dive into Liverpool and Brighton. I feel like
Okay.
that will be an offensive game. Brighton always brings the goal, so that would be an interesting game to watch.
Okay.
And I Salah starts, obviously, but we'll see.
You think you start?
No, I don't think he starts.
And what do you think the scoreline is gonna be?
It could be 2-2.
Yeah. All right. Now, Chelsea, um, they take on Everton at home, right? They've been really struggling. They lost to Atalanta, um, midweek in the Champions League. Do you think they're gonna beat Everton now, or they're gonna still struggle? Because I don't really get it, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Everton's been playing all right. Chelsea should beat Everton, but they're not in form at the moment, so maybe a one more draw could be good for everybody.
Yeah, and then Fulham's Burnley and can kind of go either way.
Yeah, about 400 should win.
Chukwueze again.
Crazy.
Uh, he's also leaving for the AFCON with Nigeria, so hopefully he wants to leave on a good note, positive, you know. And then Arsenal Wolves, I can kind of see that game 5-0, honestly, but um, the Wolves
Yeah,
are so bad this season.
uh,
They're on
uh,
track for the least points because they only have two. I mean, December. So,
yeah, I don't see any hope for them.
but it's not too bad because the teams around them, and they're not that good either. Burnley has 10, West Ham has 13. So, depending on how Burnley does, they kind of have hope, maybe. But I don't think so.
West Ham is picking up though.
Yeah, West Ham has what, 15? 13 points. Yeah, they have 13 points right now. Heading to the weekend, they can jump to about 15th or so if results go their way, which
Mhm.
means Forest will be pulled back down. But let's see. Let's see. I feel like this season, Wolves, Burnley, maybe West Ham or Forest Leeds, one of them will go join them.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm hoping Leeds go back down because West Ham are too good to go down with Bowen. And Forest having Sean Dice, and I feel like they deserve more to go. They deserve not to go down. So and leave Leeds, who just came back to go back down.
We'll see.
Yeah. But next up, we have West Ham versus Aston Villa. What do you think how that was gonna be?
2-1 Villa.
2-1. All right. Newcastle, Sunderland. Sunderland at home.
Newcastle has been really good. They've been sneaky good. 2-1 Newcastle.
Okay. Spurs, Forest. Forest at home.
2-1 Spurs.
Okay. Palace at home. Man City away.
2-0 City.
Okay. Brentford Leeds.
Mm, 1-1.
Okay. And then lastly, United Bournemouth.
2-2.
Okay. Wow. I'm is in for a shock then. But that's all we have for Premier League action. Now we want to dive into some La Liga and Madrid talk. This week we heard that Xabi Alonso could have lost his role as the manager of Real Madrid if they lost to Man City. However, we're still here. He's still in charge heading to the weekend. And the news or reports we're getting is that it's because the performances were better, but they were not enough to beat City. Do you think that's the right call, keeping him in the role even after a loss?
Yeah, it's still early in the season. There's a lot of games to be played. I think the main issue with Zabi at the moment is just the form of the team and also how he's able to manage the team. So at Real Madrid, you're not really coaching, let's say, you're managing the team because you have to manage the different egos. And I think how he started the season and his tactics kind of rubbed off on some of the senior players. Obviously, they've had some injuries and suspensions, but at the same time, the optics of things and the team hasn't been looking that great. They've shown, times where they look good and times where they don't look so great. So he just has to find a balance, obviously. Still, it's his first year, but at Madrid, you don't get like, oh, it's your first year. You got to win something. If you don't win something, you don't have
I mean,
long.
yes.
So it's the optics of things. But if you look at the City game, they had potentials to win, obviously.
Hmm.
The players, let's say, if Vinny could have gotten one back or two, then, we're right there. And then Mbappe didn't play. Basically, the goal that they gave up, Rudiger, who knows what he was doing.
Mm.
Defensive, defensively, they were missing a lot of starters back there, but the optics of the game looked way better than the optics of the Celta Vigo game, where it's like they lost 2-0, and at the same time, it looked really, really bad because of how they lost.
Yeah. Well, now that Alonso's still in the job, is he up for managing those players because he needs to get them on his side. The players said they are on his side, but
Yeah,
the performances don't look like they're on his side. Is he that player or that coach to manage these players?
I think it's early, and we'll see. It's too early to say. Obviously, when the players are performing, and Mbappe didn't play, so if your best player didn't play and you lose by one goal, and you're missing a whole bunch of defenders, that means the team actually tried. But City were supposed to win this particular game based on the available players and also the form of both teams. So I would say yes, we've seen they're still second in La Liga. They're still in Champions League. It's not like the players aren't doing their own thing. They're still implementing his tactics and stuff. So I think what he needs to do is just less tactics and more playing, just allow the players to play. That's all.
Or just release them, take
Yeah, let
let
the
them pop and let them play.
yeah, all these different formations and weird players coming in. One game, yeah, like Garcia playing like Vinny's position, and Vinny was on the bench, and you just watch it, it didn't even make sense. It's like,
Yeah,
don't try to overcoach, you know.
yeah, got it. But well, Alonso, that's all we have for you. Um, guys, this is the end of the episode. Hope comment, you like, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.